What's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Today, we're seeing a little bit of a continuation of what happened yesterday, in which the Bitcoin price chart was breaking up. So today, we'll take a peek here at the Bitcoin price chart, the altcoin market, and see what's going on out there in markets as we are now 1 hour into the trading session beginning for global markets, or for the United States markets at least. And we're starting to see Bitcoin take out the heights that were set there on yesterday. Now, I had posted yesterday that I speculate we will eventually see a plus $2,500 daily candle on Bitcoin from this range that'll leave bears in disbelief. At that time, we were getting near hitting the breakout point in there. Bitcoin was about $18,136 yesterday morning. For me talking right now, it's about 23 hours ago. We're up a little bit over $1,000 since then in the last 23 hours. So obviously not one daily candle, but at least yesterday we did get the breakout daily candle. Now looking for continuation to keep on happening in here. I did a live stream yesterday once we finally got that breakout, which was really just an hour later, really discussing the things that I'm looking for me to be like, oh yeah, no worries. I'm super happy. Just a liquidation candle to go in here and take out a lot of the shorts on leverage that have been placed in here. So looking to see something big come out of there, and it looks like we are starting to get somewhat of a break happen as I'm actually recording right now. So that's cool to see. That's been a sight for sore eyes, something we haven't gotten very much over the last several months. But I spent a lot of time talking in the stream about how, when we do inverse price charts, and we've been talking about this for months at this point, that the structure that we've created down in here is very similar to just reversal structures. And a lot of people didn't see the reversal happening at the top of Bitcoin back in November of last year. We used this procedure in an annoying way because I was bringing it up almost every single day when we were at the top of Bitcoin back in 2021 to show what inverse reversals look like so we can kind of remove our biases. And essentially right now, what we saw happen last time is once we took out that peak, we saw a liquidation come in here. So kind of looking to see, hey, can we get something as clear cut as that of a liquidation candle to signature mark the move that, hey, we have reversed? Because when we had this happen last time, and I'll flip us back the other way, that was the signature marking that the bear market had started. I'd put out a video that day saying the bear strikes. I put out all these different things and how I could imagine the bear market playing out. A lot of people didn't believe the bear market was in effect at that time. There was still a lot of hope and optimism that we were going to see $100,000 Bitcoin, but I had spent way too much time saying this, and looked at quite silly. And I understand that when we look at things upside down, it's like, how does that mean anything? But it's just so we can remove our biases. But at this point now, we are getting the breakout happening in here, getting really close to 19,300. If we can get up there to like 20,500, I'll be very excited. I will have the expectations that we will stall out afterwards. If we keep going beyond that, hey, that's great. But really, this is just a marker that I'm looking for me to say, hey, a lot of the things are playing out the way I had hoped that they would play out. We're getting a lot of the signals saying that the bottom is in. So I did spend all of November and December accumulating this market. Like I was telling you guys here on this channel, I was accumulating in a nauseating way. I still hope that I'm right. At this point, of course, I am taking a breather from accumulating at this point as we now have upward green candles happening in the market. But so far, so good. We did a live stream yesterday, kind of hoping that we would actually get to see that breakout end up happening. And then we just said, you know what? It doesn't look like it's going to happen. We'll give it time to breathe. And well, it's really been playing out very similar to how things played out yesterday. So I'll get that off the screen and kind of show you the structure of how these things all played out in here. It was nearly identical. So I've been watching it all morning, waiting to start recording to see if we were going to get this to occur just like we did back in here. Notice how sloppy things got. This is when the CPI came out, but notice that we've been grinding up. There was a big sell-off back to the top, and then it was worked its way. Notice we had the same thing happening in here. Enough time had elapsed that these structures were practically identical accumulation structures happening in here. And I was like, okay, we'll just give it a minute to breathe. And well, hey, what do you know? We get it. So I'll take it. Still looking for more, but I do think we're going to get more. I think we're going to be great. I'm not a trend liner, but for the bears, I know there's a lot of disbelief in bears. I've been looking out there on Twitter and watching it. However you want to do it. All the trend liners are probably like, oh gosh, that's on log scale. Obviously on standard scale, you're well beyond the breakout of trend. Of course, what that usually does mean is we do come back at some point. However, I'm hoping that we can just get a really nice wick to come up here. Then you know what? Still means that you could definitely fall a whopping $2,500 after that, but I'm not naive enough to think that the market will go up in a straight line. We have lots of ups, lots of downs. I'm just looking to see that we can get a signature move happen in here that usually signifies the bottom is in. For all we know, the thing could just keep on cranking up to the upside. I've been really discussing Wyckoff accumulation in here. I know most of you are sick of hearing it, and yet, even to this day, it still remains valid that the altcoin market is still holding the lows, just like the Wyckoff accumulation did at the bottom in 2019 and 2020. Our spring down here has definitely been going on longer than it did after the C19 sell-off ended up happening, but this is what springs typically look like as they start to work their way back up. We can look at Bitcoins from 2015 and see that when we usually have these springs, we will stay down here a while, like so, before things eventually start to work their way up. So my hopes are that we are in something like this. We're working our way out of spring, heading towards our sign of strength. And I do believe what we're experiencing is a disbelief rally. So if you go out there on Twitter, sure, there's excitement. There's positive green action. There's going to be excitement. But if you look at how many people out there are still looking for lower, it's a lot. The engagement on bearish stuff is still like, hey, don't fall for this. It's a suckers rally. Gets incredible engagement right now. I think there's a lot of people still expecting that we're supposed to go lower. The altcoin market is supposed to go lower. And I know that they've been waiting for this for several months. What are we on? 7 months at this point, waiting for the whole thing to completely crumble, and it just hasn't. So I know it's been like Groundhog Day here talking about Wyckoff accumulation, but we did this spring. We looked for a spring to come, came in earlier than I expected with a catalyst. We got spring. This would be the phase where we're starting to head our way back up to then work on a sign of strength. If for some reason the altcoin market turned back over and came back down into these prices, back down in here, I would be a little concerned. I would say that's not what I was expecting. And then I would start questioning this low down in here. However, the fact that we've gotten through here, gotten through these levels, I do believe spring is complete, and I do believe we are on our way out of here. And obviously the story is the same for Ethereum. We got the breakout for Ethereum. Not only that, we got through the 200-day moving average. We closed yesterday above the 200-day moving average. Now the big question is there follow through that comes through with the market? I would assume if Bitcoin's going to go up another $1,000 or so, Ethereum pulling along with it, and then we get an even further extension above that 200-day moving average. We know what happened last time that we got to it. CZ Binance, FTX, literally the day after we end up touching it is when all the drama starts, and look at that 4 days of just plop. But this time we get our way through. So hopefully we see more follow through today and even further move away from it to signify, boom, that thing is broken. But what would another $1,000 for Bitcoin give us? It would give us a break through the 200-day moving average as well, which we all know way back over there. That's the last time we visited the 200-day moving average was on March 28th of 2022, 291 days ago. Currently sits at 19,500. We've seen Ethereum squeak through. We've seen Bitcoin Cash squeak through. So Bitcoin, you're up. So that's still a headwind we have ahead of us. But, the things that we talked about in here is after working sideways and whatever ends up happening here, if we're going to go to breakout, we usually don't wiggle our way up there. That when we get there, we usually go quickly. And we could see that we did get there quickly. And these are positive signs for what happens when breakouts do occur. So it's very rare that you make it back to the top there after we've been in this thing for 2 months and talking about it. It's very rare that we get back to the top and then it pummels its way back down again. The most common thing is it does go for breakout at that point. Considering we got there so fast, it's why I felt confident in posting this yesterday. And it's based on a lot of things we've talked about for the last several weeks and months on if we work our way back up to the top quickly, that's usually the really good sign that the breakout's coming. So I'm very optimistic on the market. I'm also very aware that 200-day moving average just sits right there, which we could throw it back on there real quick. That's where we sit. But I'm very optimistic to see the things that are occurring in here that we see in Wyckoff accumulation after a spring is completed, which we've talked about for 7 months. Annoying, but the best chance for us to finally be working out of here is right now. So long as there's not some big nasty pullback taking us back down in here, I'm super optimistic this thing has already started. If we've got any type of massive pullback that happens down in here, I'll get very cautious and very concerned. Otherwise, I do believe we have begun the journey. And this is where I say, Surge incoming. Imminent explosion. Green candles galore. We're finally there, man. We just need one more big push to be the signature that we've got it. But I would say most of the signatures have already happened, and I'm really, really optimistic. So as we head into the weekend, I'll show you the things that I'm looking for and that I'm hoping for. Of course, I'm looking for that last break to come in here that pushes us up to like $20,500, and then we can hold it for a minute, get above that 200-day moving average. However, I'm fully willing to accept that the market does have to come back down and back test this breakout before eventually moving its way back up. That would be perfectly acceptable to build some more juice to finally crack through the 200-day. I'd like to see us get through it now, but if not, this is okay. The thing that would definitely make me concerned is if we got here and then we broke through here and we came back down to like $17,000. Then I would start saying, a lot of this stuff isn't adding up anymore. A breakthrough there wouldn't be good. So a breakthrough 18,000 would start getting me pretty concerned. A break back down to 17,000 would get me really concerned that, hey, I'm not seeing the picture clearly. So those are the things that would happen that would make me concerned. A pullback down to these levels, fine, that's acceptable. It's normal to backtest a breakout. Breaking back through the breakout level, that is concerning. So if I saw this, I would start getting pretty concerned. Otherwise, the thing I'd love to see, and I'm hoping for the most, is that we do get a break up higher, but still even having the expectation that we do pull back down there at some point. But this would be a classic marker that a reversal is in full effect. So that's what I'm cheering for. I'm not going to be selling. I'm not going to be taking any actions or doing anything there. You do whatever you want. I'm not a trade caller. I'm just looking for that to happen for me to be more excited about the market and feel more confident about any type of pullback that may end up arriving. It's acceptable to have one here, but man, give us the liquidation in here. I'll be feeling really good about the market. Just don't crack through there. But I'm feeling very good about the market. I'm very excited. I'm going to probably be staring at charts way too much throughout the weekend, more than I should be. I usually like to take weekends off, but this is the thing we've been talking about for months now, and we're here. So let's see if it can do it. So on that note, we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. You guys can follow me over here on Twitter at BCBacker. If anything crazy happens, I'm sure I'll be posting over here. Over the last couple of weeks, I've left out like the Friday fluff, but in the live stream, some of you guys said you miss it. So here we go. This is the original fish tank. It's doing just fine. We just keep, a dozen or so fish in the original fish tank. But if you remember, I remember when I got my first baby fish. Well, now I'm like a pro. I'm catching the babies all the time when they're coming out. So there's another little fish tank that I have where I keep all the teeny tiny little babies. But I now have the 75-gallon tank up and running. So this one's great. This one's doing well. It's been a kind of a pain to get it cycled, but it is up and running now. Lots of fish in here, lots of these babies. Out of all the fish that are in here, I believe only 3 of them were purchased at a store. Every single other fish that you see in here was raised from the same process, getting it out of that tank, putting it into the baby tank, and then getting it into this tank and it growing. So I think there's over 100 fish in this tank at this point. So pretty cool, pretty proud. And yeah, that's just kind of where we're at with the fish stuff. It's wild. Otherwise, thank you all for coming out to the live stream yesterday. Thank you for all your support. Fingers crossed. It's an awesome weekend. All right, guys, that's going to be it. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you could be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.